Now, how do you remove the center trim? Basically, these buttons here, the climate controls, they come with the trim as one piece. The radio and the storage cubby, they stay at one place. So how do you go about removing that? With the shifter in the back position, like I showed you. Once again, this is the little button. You press it by pressing with the screwdriver here from the top, and it releases it. It can go backwards. So there are two little screws, one here, one identical on the other side. They're T20s. Take those out and this thing should pop right out. So with the screws removed, this is now loose. It will pop out from the top as well, as you can see, and it comes right out. There are two electrical connectors, one here, a small one for the buttons, the hazard lights, and one bigger wiring loom right here, which is for, there are actually two, one here, which is for the climate controls. So this, there is a small tab on the back, press it and this thing will swivel down, letting you remove this connector. This one you can just pull on it a bit harder and it will come out as well. I can do it with one hand, so I'll do this off camera. You can see now again the two connectors. This one you just tug it and it comes right out. This one you press on this little tab right here. This will allow this arm to swivel down and it will pop out the connector instantaneously. This one, you just pull on it, and again, now we have this entire assembly out. Put in a safe location, for example right here, and now you can see we have this thing. How do you go about removing this? So there is one screw here, again T20, another right here T20, and this radio and the cubby come out as one piece. With the screws removed, you just pull on it and it comes right out. You can see now the cubby on the bottom can separate from the radio on the top. You can pry it out if you have the screws inside. Just put it sitting upwards like this, so that you don't lose all of the screws, and tug on the radio. It has a connection on the back as usual, so you will be needing to disconnect it. Here are the connections for the antenna. This, not exactly sure what that is. I think this is for the steering controls, and the other connectors here on the top. You just press on the little tab right here and remove the connectors, each one like this. Press on the tab, remove, press again on the tab and remove all of them. The antenna and this connector I will remove off camera because they're a little bit more difficult to remove with one hand. So, with the radio and the storage cubby removed, this allows us to see why the glove box wasn't coming out. Basically, the glove box is held by something, some tabs beneath these two. This storage cubby on the top and this trim piece right here. So, this trim piece is held in by 1, 2 T20s and the storage cubby is held in by 1 T20. Just remove those and take those two pieces out. Okay, so I was playing with this for a while. I was pulling on it. It didn't want to come out. Didn't want to come out from here, from here. The glove box didn't want to come out, and I was like, okay, there must be some other screw holding this entire assembly in. So I took this part from the glove box. This is the front part of it with the handle. I took that out, and how do you do that is basically there are these two tabs, like this one stays in one place, but here on the other side there was also a tab like that. You just press it from here, there was a tab, you just pull that out, and the entire lid of the glove box just swings down and falls onto the carpet. Quite easy. So the other thing that I found while doing all of this was that there was indeed another screw. So pulling this carpet to the side, you just put your fingers behind it and tug on it. There is actually another hidden screw right here. I took already the screw out, but it's right here behind this. So if you have the carpet in, there is absolutely no way that you can see that screw. So with that screw out, I think finally, yes, this entire assembly comes right out. There is one connector here on the top, which is for the light. Again, it just pushes to the side, to the back, not directly up, and you have the entire glove box out. And now I can show you a little bit better where that last screw was. It's right here, behind this assembly, right here, from the bottom side, you can find the screw. So now with everything out, we can finally proceed to taking this cage here out. This cage on the pre-facelift models is different from those on the post-facelift models. So this cage, if you want to put the radio buttons on the top, which are for the extras, and the climate control, this cage will not fit with the post-facelift stuff. So this cage needs to come out. I will put in the part number in the video description below for the new cage. You can find it new at Mercedes, or you can buy one from a wrecked car, which is what I did. Got it for 10 bucks. So to do this, to take the cage out, here as you can see, it's almost ready to come out. You only need to basically remove this little tab here, one screw here. But on this side there's a few more things that need to be done. So basically we need to take this part of the trim out. There's 1, 2, 3 screws holding it in, and the cage is held here and here again with screws. I don't see any screws on the bottom, so I'll proceed with taking those apart and we will see how it goes. So with all of the little screws out, you pop this thing, push to the side, and it falls down. As you can see, it's here. Just push it down and out. There is a such climate control vent right here. It has another tab right here. I don't know if you can see it. It's way down here. You just push it with the screwdriver to the side, pop that thing out, and we will see now if I can just pry out this cage without actually removing this trim completely, because it has some amount of play. When you pull on it a little bit harder, we'll see. Otherwise, I'll have to check how can I remove this trim completely out. Okay guys, so it was possible to actually remove this plastic cage without removing this piece of trim completely. All you need to do is, after removing those 3 screws here, here and here, there are a couple of tabs, one here and one here. They still continue to hold this plastic cage to this piece of trim right here. Just gently pry on this towards you with a screwdriver or with your hand, and tug on this to the right side and down, because there are these little tabs right here which go inside the dash. So if you just continue pulling it to the right, you'll never get it out. This piece itself is really sturdy. You will not break it. Just don't be afraid, pull on it. It will come right out. Save yourself some time. So here is the old plastic cage, and here is the new one. As you can see, the new one has these bolt holes to attach the separate panels, which, unlike on the old one, do not come with the trim but are separate pieces. So the climate controls, the buttons with the extras, and the radio are three separate things. On the old one, the climate controls, the extras were one big piece that came with the wood trim, and the radio was something separate. So this cage, as you can see from the part number, actually does come from a W203. Still, it should fit on this C209. We'll see though. If it doesn't fit, I will have to find a new cage. Hopefully it fits. So, wiring wise, everything works as plug and play except for the buttons on the top with the hazard light switch. So these are the old ones, old hazard light switch with the extras buttons, and as you can see it has a square plug connector on the back. In comparison, the new one, which is this one from the facelifted car, has squared connectors. So how we make this work is, the best thing to have is this guy right here. So when I bought the upgraded facelift style of hazard light switch with the button extras, I asked the guy to also send me a piece of wiring, and this is what he sent me. This is the correct connector that should make everything basically plug and play. However, as you can see, we need to splice this thing to the old wiring harness, which is this. Splicing it is the easiest option. However, the most correct option would be to dip in this connector, dip in this connector as well, and basically put this plastic connector on the wiring harness that was on the car. However, like I said, I will be splicing them as I don't have a deep pinning tool and I don't really want to buy one. So we will make that the easiest way. As you can see, 4 wires here, 4 wires here. Every wire is the same color as on the old one, so 1 red and blue, 1 brown and blue, and 2 browns. The same is for this one. As there are 2 browns and I'm not really sure what exactly they do, so what's the difference, I will be following the pins. So I will start with pin number 1 right here, which is a solid brown. It's this wire right here, and I will cut the wire from pin number 1 here, which again is a solid brown wire, and then I will go with the others. Once these 2 are connected, there is nothing else to mess up, as the other wires are all 3 different colors. So I'll splice them together and we will test if everything works. So the wires are now spliced. As you can see, we have the new connector here, wires together, and it's time to plug it into this new control stack and see if everything will work. So have the connector, plug it in, leave this here. Now we have to power on the car. We have the lights on the dashboard here. We already have the light for the airbag passenger off, and let's see. Yes, and it is working. Lock the car, unlock the car. Everything seems to work perfectly. So we can now put it in the ignition in the off position. Let's try again. Yep, it works. It's lighting. It's also lighting on the dash. Perfect. That's a big win.